February 2017. February 1st, 2017. Blocking, shadows, defining features, cleanup, highlights, soft lights, color dodge / burn. February 6th, 2017. Symptoms of the illness, in order of severeness. Psychosis, seeing color matching, cars, people's clothing. Psychosis, license plates sending messages. Paranoia, people throwing gestures towards me. New, iTunes songs names creating a message. New, religious thought. Stage 1, overhearing people's conversations as though they're meant towards me. Stage 2, music or television talking to me. Stage 3, seeing blinks on television being directed at me. Stage 3.5, suicidal thoughts. Stage 4, hearing or seeing things completely. February 10th, 2017. The man under the weather. There's a man who sits alone on the side of the road, under the cover of a freeway overpass, doing his best to stay dry. It's wet again tonight. A frozen rain is falling over the road above and drips onto the tent covering him. The wind sweeps through the pass, cutting into the side of the tent. M sits in his tent, huddled in a sleeping bag over a camp stove that's heating a tin pot filled with water, and that's his night meals of pasta noodles. He doesn't have any sauce to go with it, but he has a bottle of schnapps to sip from, and he tells himself it's keeping him warm as the water boils. The pasta swirls as the water roils in the pot, foaming gently against the brim as he huddles over it. The lantern sitting next to him throws an elongated shadow of his form against the tent's wall as he waits for his dinner to finish cooking. He waits patiently for the noodles to soften and takes a sip from the bottle sitting near his feet. He hums to himself as he waits. It's quiet under the pass. His friends haven't returned for the night, and he hasn't thought about where they would be at this hour. He didn't have a watch available to him, but he knew it was getting on in the night because he was getting hungry and it was getting cold. He pulled one of the noodles out of the pot with the spork he had curled in his waiting fist and blew on it. He popped it in his mouth and chewed it. They were ready. He unzipped the side of his tent and, taking the pot in one hand and the lid in the other, leaned out into the clearing under the pass and emptied the pot of its liquid. He moved quickly back into the tent and placed the pot back on the brazier and turned it off and closed the tent flap. He held the small pot with one hand and raised his fork with the other and dug into his meal. He ate quickly, not waiting for the noodles to cool, letting the warmth spread out into his stomach, and once he was finished, laid out in his bag, placed his tin pot and burner next to him on a small piece of wood he thought of as his dinner table, and got as comfortable as the ground would let him. He turned off the lantern laying next to him. He took one last nip from his schnapps and placed the bottle on the table next to him, rolled over and went to bed. "You'll be nothing," he said to himself before he fell asleep, as the rain fell against his tent and turned the ground around it to mud. February 10th, 2017. Listening to Harmontown podcast and thinking it was directed towards me, calling me a hack writer and being very negative, taking 2 full agitation-filled days to realize that it wasn't directed towards me, telling Netios and feeling better, Netios mentioning that spending time in the psych ward again may be beneficial if done voluntarily to see if I can get better that way, classifying it as a mini psychotic break. Before that, thinking a podcast on YouTube was saying it was going to kill me, and that encroaching feeling of being monitored again in the store at Goodwill was this last Saturday, and acting erratically enough to upset Netios. Trying to ignore the feeling doesn't work, it just makes me worse, but there's a period of the illness where I'm less able to communicate honestly or clearly. The sickness clouds my judgment. Telling Netios makes it better, but making the illness more public, which I have to get over. But by telling her I was able to get my day's work done this morning on the script, and I feel clear-headed. February 24th, 2017. Break the audio into scenes. Compile the shots for the scene. Create the puppets with all the moving parts. February 26, 2017. If the FA-OGR construct works, line the outer rim of the wiring of the generator with it and wire it into the wiring leading down the generator's shaft circumference. Offset it so the direction of the electrical flow forces the same magnetic charge to force a magnetic hull to keep rotating perpetually. Should produce enough charge from initial movements to continue rotation indefinitely. Shape the magnetic force between the spaces of the wire in a spokes pattern. The movement of the hull should produce a charge within these dummy wires to kick the hull along another click, ensuring another measured rotation as fast as it can be rotated, in proportion to the force acting on all of its points within a given rotation, offsetting the rotations of equilibrium, much like the Earth's rotation around the Sun. Corkscrew. The hull will force itself back against the inner core, forcing it to move. March 2017. March 8th, 2017. 1000. 999,1. 998,2. 500, 500. March 16th, 2017. Stocks to buy. Jay's investment strategy. Disney 100, Pixar, DreamWorks, Microsoft 64 priority, Amazon 850 priority, Uber, Apple 140, Android 850 priority. So every time the larger one doubles, sell one and buy a lower tiered item until you have enough of each to make a single purchase of the bigger item, and then rinse and repeat. Never sell one down, as these are all legacy stocks. Once you have enough of these, then invest in other stocks. Buy the cheapest stock making the most amount of money for the last day until all values are the same, then pump the ones that increase the fastest until you can buy more heavy hitters to repeat the cycle. The heavy hitters are there to fund the cheaper stocks and be the actual nest egg. March 22nd, 2017. I've had this design stuck in my head for the better part of a year. Since I don't have the money to make one, I thought I would share it with you to see if I could drum up interest in the project to see it get made. Just to see what I would need to change, if anything, to make it work. It should work just from the design though, as all the parts make sense on the whole device. It works off the basic understanding from the spin of magnetic fields and the induction method of charge generation within a wire being affected by the pole of the rotating magnet. Hence its name is the inverted induction generator, LIG for short. Basically, it works under the same principles of spinning a magnetic pole around a wire which produces a charge. This just does it indefinitely by design. The first thing you need is a unipole magnetic hull, which is easy enough. You just break the hull into cross sections like this and join them or cap them if you can build the two-piece version. More pieces means easier construction but more chances for error. You coat the hull in a metal that makes the transition smooth and to keep the body rigid while it spins. It's designed to flex as it rotates to force it to corkscrew indefinitely, but you don't want the hull pieces collapsing against itself, though the design forces outward by the inner pieces pull compressing against one another. You make the sections of the hull get stronger as the build volume increases to create a change over time within the magnetic field. You take this coated hull and place it inside a clamshelled ring of the same pole type, also offset with increasing sections of magnetic strength, forcing the hull to flex and leaving one side open to allow the forced hull to push outward to where the induction wires are located. On the other side of the wire is the larger, faster spinning setup of the same design of the opposing pole with proportionally weaker forces so that each side is equally acted upon within the same time frame. You may not even need both poles, but it should produce a different charge type than a monopole version. In the wire mesh, layers of graphene iron oxide bonded constructs are faced so that when the hull spins, it produces a magnetic field at the same pole to act as a kick gear to force the hull forward as it passes over the wire, keeping it moving indefinitely. If need be, if they only give the opposite pole within the shape, a wire is led from within the other ring to force the right pole to materialize, which is forced on the same movement proportionate to the thickness of the wire and the field/time hull acting on it. You stack these rings and stack them one on top of the other until they're creating a full or greater than full rotation within the wires leading out of the platters. You twist the wires at the same angle for the given number of platter stacks until you get a full rotation with two poles within the wires indefinitely. You should hopefully force the charge to corkscrew down the wire as the charge pulses through the platters. This should, if it works, produce a charge nearly indefinitely while forcing itself to keep spinning until forcibly stopped. That's my idea for a new type of energy generator, the T-Lig. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I have other designs, like a suit that controls your muscles to make you healthy and extend your life, and other projects that being on disability just doesn't allow me to work on. March 31st, 2017. Illusion of Life. Please visit anchor.fm/divergentmind to leave a message so that I may get back to you. Thank you. Have a nice day. So Anchor is asking me to ask you to support me financially. I would ask that you go to my Patreon to do that, which is patreon.com/divergentmind. It means you can either become a monthly subscriber at a different tier of $1 to $3 to $5. I'm not looking for a lot. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm not asking for anything. This is going to go to the end of my podcast. I don't like it when podcasts straight up ask you for money when I'm doing okay. Well, I'm not doing okay. I'm surviving now to the point that I can make this. I would love to be able to make improvements to this by, say, getting... So basically, I'm running off an iPad. and I would like to improve it by getting different things that would make it better. Maybe some headphones that monitor output, or a better mic. Though the mic I got was from JWife, so I might not even use the better mic. You know what I mean? It's all about whatever I need at the time, but really it's just to get healthy again, because I'm currently over 300 pounds and I don't want to die that young. I would really like to be able to afford some vegetables so I can go back to my vegetarian diet, because being this big sucks. And I'm happy to sit in a chair all day, but I really got to walk my butt off, literally. So that's what the money would be for. It would be for healthy food, because I can't afford it. I can afford ramen and pasta and rice and beans, but I can't live on carbs, because that's how you get this big on antipsychotics. Junk food and carbs, which is just cheap and plentiful around me. So I would like to leave my house and just lose some weight. And to do that, I would like to go to the store and buy some vegetables, please. But you don't have to do anything. I'm not asking you to. I'm not begging. I'll figure it out on my own. Much pleasure, Jay. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that I have a YouTube channel called Taught Myself, and that I've decided to start selling merch already with a phrase that my brother showed me saying, "My disability is invisible," of which I made a hat for myself. So I decided to make hats, shirts, hoodies, for both men and women on Spreadshirt.com. All you have to do is search for "My disability is invisible." It's in green, and that's mine. You'll know it's me because when you click the sale icon, the same little Divergent mind icon comes up. And I hope you'll support me. I make about $5 per shirt or per sale. Everything else goes to Spreadshirt, but that's okay because it's still a better deal than a lot of other places. And I really hope you'll support me. Come check me out on the YouTube. Teach me how to do that properly so I can have a community there too. And I await your response. Have a lovely day. Jay.
Hey people, take a listen to the Divergent Mind podcast. You get both insight into living with a serious mental illness and get to listen to a lovely tale about a journey cute little animals need to take. Don't miss out, and remember, divergent minds don't need to think alike.